Hello everybody, my name is Amish Srivastava and I'm a teacher of science. To be more specific, I specialize in teaching physics and chemistry, class 10 CBSE standard. I've been doing this for a very long time, it's almost 19 years now, and believe me, all those who have hired me as an educational help have done very well in their exams, whether it is the board examination or the school examination. So I follow a certain methodology of teaching, which is slightly different from what most teachers do. And the objective of this particular video is to present before you a short class, something like a demo class, which will bring out the way I actually deal with a particular chapter. And if you happen to like that, and if you need to hire me as an educational help, you can contact me at 96505 45189 or 93541 71109. So let's begin. So today I am going to deal with the first chapter of chemistry for class 10, which is chemical reactions and equations, as the topic here itself is. Now, the moment we come to this chapter, I'm sure all of you have heard the word chemical equations and chemical reactions. But if you suddenly ask someone, would you define what a chemical reaction is? And more importantly, what are the causative factors responsible for a chemical reaction? That is when the problem rises. So let's deal with the problem at its base. Chemical reactions. Now, if we really want to understand this, let us get back to the basics of class 9. And let us pick up two elements, let's say sodium and chlorine. As you can see here, sodium has an atomic number of 11 and its electronic configuration is 281. Chlorine has an atomic number of 17 and its configuration is 287. So what we can see from here is that these two elements have three shells, but unfortunately the third shell is not completely filled. Now let's refresh certain things, certain concepts of the past. Octet rule, what does it state? That for any element to achieve chemical stability, for any element to become chemically stable, it should have a filled outermost shell. If the outermost shell is the second, third, fourth, or etc., it needs to have 8 electrons in the outermost shell, that is, it requires to achieve an octet. If it has only one shell, then it needs to have 2 electrons in the outermost shell, that is a duplet. So in this particular case, the octet has not been achieved, and hence the two elements, namely sodium and chlorine, are not chemically stable. So what do they want? They want chemical stability. And how do they achieve it? The easiest way sodium could achieve its octet is by losing an electron. It would become 28. And chlorine, by gaining an electron, it would become 288. So a situation so arises where sodium is in a position to lose or donate its one electron, and chlorine is in a position to acquire or accept that electron, and thus both achieve their octet, become chemically stable. And in the process, they form bonds with each other, resulting in the formation of a completely new substance or compound, which is sodium chloride, NaCl, or common salt as we call it. So, an attempt to achieve chemical stability is the main reason why chemical reactions occur. A chemical reaction is a chemical interaction between chemical species, between substances, between elements, trying to achieve chemical stability. And during that process, there could be an exchange, transfer, or sharing of electrons, resulting in the formation of entirely new substances with absolutely new properties. That's a rough definition of what a chemical reaction is. But now you know what exactly a chemical reaction is and why chemical reactions occur. And just to mention, One of the most important factors responsible for bringing about a chemical reaction is contact. It's only when a contact is established between different chemical species that a chemical reaction can occur. So what we need is physical contact. And this is achieved through various ways, by bringing the chemical substances together physically, by increasing the temperature, by using a catalyst, by increasing the pressure, and so on and so forth, about which we will talk later. Now, this is an introduction to what exactly are we dealing with in this particular chapter. Now, as you can see that in a very simple situation over here, where we have taken sodium and chlorine and we have formed a reaction between them, which is Na plus Cl giving NaCl. But then I have written down another reaction which says 2Na plus Cl2 gives 2NaCl. The difference between these two equations is that this is an unbalanced equation in which the number of atoms on the left hand side is not equal to the number of atoms on the right hand side, because chlorine, as you can see here, is supposed to be in the form of Cl2, that is a gas, not in atomic form. Whereas in this case, chlorine is taken as a gas and the actual reaction takes place and is represented in a balanced state, with the left hand side and the right side having equal number of atoms. This is what we call a balanced chemical equation. A chemical equation is a symbolic representation of a chemical reaction taking place. It shows us the symbols of the elements involved in the reaction, which we call the reactants. It shows the symbol of the elements or the substances produced as a result of the chemical reaction, which we call the product. It also shows the conditions under which the reaction has taken place. And it should be balanced. That means it should have the same number of atoms on the left and right hand side. Why would we actually balance a chemical equation? That's in accordance with the fact that matter can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed from one form to another. That is law of conservation of mass. That is why we need to balance the chemical equation. Now, all these questions keep coming in your board examinations and your school examinations. So it is this is question based analysis of the entire chapter. Now, in the very first page of this chapter, if you turn to that particular page, it will really help you. You will see that they ask you a question, that why is it that milk sours easily at room temperature during the summers? Now, this is what I would treat as a mother question. The questions that arise from this are, why is milk refrigerated in order to store it for a longer time? Why is baking soda added to milk to prevent its souring? So on and so forth. And all these questions come in your CBSE board examinations. Now, if we know the basic concept behind the souring of milk, we can answer all these questions. So let's get down to it. Milk contains a bacteria which is known as lactobacillus. And this bacteria secretes lactic acid. As the name itself suggests, it's an acid, it's sour in nature and causes the sourness of milk. Now, bacteria function best at a temperature range of 30 to 45 degrees centigrade. And this temperature is easily achievable during the summers. That explains that the bacteria is at its peak. So, a very large amount of lactic acid is very easily and quickly produced, resulting in the sourness of the milk. Whereas, if we refrigerate milk, we are lowering down the temperature. So, the temperature conditions are not conducive for bacterial growth, and the lactic acid production reduces and milk can be preserved for a longer period. Another thing is, why do we use baking soda to preserve milk? So, there are two basic chemical substances, acids and bases. We will go into the depth of this concept later, but as of now, acids and bases are polarized in nature. They neutralize each other's effect. So, if lactic acid is an acid, baking soda is a base, and it is added to milk to neutralize the effect of lactic acid and prevent the souring of milk. Now, there is one question that might trouble you, is that why do we boil milk in order to preserve it? So, you see what happens that when we boil milk, we are achieving a temperature close to 70 degrees, something like that. Now the bacteria function best at temperatures between 30 to 45, but at higher temperatures they slip into a stage of dormancy. They stop functioning because it's a threat to their life, and so the lactic acid production reduces, and that again helps in preventing milk from getting sour. So this is how we deal with the entire concept. Now when you know all these things, you can answer any of the questions that arise out of this main question, that is the souring of milk. Why does iron rust? No, it's a very simple thing. Iron, when exposed to atmospheric conditions, reacts with the moisture of the air and the oxygen to form a rust, and that is why rusting takes place. It's a very common reaction. The burning of the magnesium ribbon, now this again is a very important topic. Magnesium comes under the category of active metal, and because it is active in nature, when it is exposed to atmospheric conditions, it reacts with the oxygen, the carbon dioxide and the other gases present in the atmosphere, and forms somewhat an inert layer on its surface of magnesium oxide, of magnesium carbonate. Now when such a magnesium ribbon is made to burn, it does not burn spontaneously and continuously because of the inert layer of magnesium oxide and carbonate. So if it is rubbed with sandpaper, it helps in the removal of these inert layers and the spontaneous and continuous burning of the magnesium ribbon. That explains the question. And then we have the reaction between zinc and dilute HCl. So whenever you will deal with this particular topic, it will always come that granulated zinc is used while reacting with HCl. Now why granulated zinc, and what exactly is granulated zinc? Zinc is first taken in its molten state, and when it is suddenly cooled down, it shrinks to form spikes on its surface, and the spiky surface increases the surface area of zinc. So when it is introduced to dilute HCl, the area of contact increases and enhances the rate of the reaction, and the reaction takes place more effectively and obviously. So this short class here explains how we should actually deal with the different topics in your chapter. Okay, now for all those who are interested in hiring my educational help, I am based in Delhi, and I cater to the educational needs of boys and girls from Delhi and NCR. So if you have any doubts, queries, questions, you can get in touch with me on my WhatsApp number. Let me again refresh the numbers. It's 96505 45189 and 93541 If you are based outside Delhi, well, again, you can get in touch with me. You could probably mail me. My email ID is AMITT Amit Shrivastava SRIVASTAVA 172 @gmail.com. Thank you.